Hi everybody, welcome back to the Quarter Acre Homestead. Today we're going to talk about grafting persimmons. I'm going to show you some grafts that I've done in the past and show you the tools that I use, give you some hints on successful persimmon grafting, and we will also graft a persimmon. So I'll show you all the steps, tools needed, etc. Okay, so I have a Fuyu persimmon tree behind me. We are in Washington State, about zone 8B, so it gets down to about 15 to 20 in the winter. We've had this persimmon tree for about probably 7 or 8 years. It's called a sweet Fuyu. We get lots of nice fruit on it, especially towards the beginning of the season, end of October, November. Nice Fuyus, taste really good, but then later, later it gets, then they start being kind of bland, I think because it's not warm enough. But we get really nice fruit, and so I'm trying to graft some Saijo persimmons, which are more of the soft type that have to get completely ripe before they taste good, because I've heard that they will get even sweeter than the Fuyu. So I'm going to be grafting this little piece onto this tree today. So a couple tips: grafting persimmons, it's a lot harder than, for example, apples. Apples, I get success almost every time I graft. With persimmons, I get about 40% of the ones that I try, probably. So the tools you just need a pair of cutters to cut your tree, cut your scion. Also, you need a grafting knife. So I have Victorinox Felco grafting knife. So I'll put links in the description to this. You'll need some rubber bands to tie around your graft to hold everything together nice and tight. And then you'll need something to waterproof it. So I usually use parafilm, which I don't have it with me right now, but you can order it on Amazon. Again, I'll put a link in the description. It's just a clear, stretchy tape that you can wrap around to keep it waterproof. So let's go do the graft, and then I'll show you some of my successful grafts from the past. One of them actually has fruit on it this year. So let's go look at how to graft this on. Oh, I should tell you a few tips I've learned about grafting persimmons. One is, unlike apples you graft when everything's dormant, so no leaves have opened, no buds have opened. With persimmons, you get a lot better success if you wait till they're growing. So wait, at least in our zone, till May or June. Right now I guess it's still April, but almost May. It's warmed up. The persimmons are putting on leaves and fruit. So one person I've talked to, they said they have really good success grafting right when one leaf has uncurled on the new growth. But anytime May, June, in that time is a good time to graft. If it gets hotter than 90 after you graft, you want to make sure you water the tree so it still has lots of sap running. What else? The other thing that I've done, if it's going to be sunny, is put a little tinfoil like shield over the graft to try to not let it dry out from the sun. So the other thing, I really would like to graft in close to the tree trunk, because if I graft out on the end of a branch and then I let that graft grow to have fruit, it's going to be way far away from the tree and probably fall down onto the ground with the fruit. So I really want it to be close. I don't know if I have anything close to graft onto, so let's take a look. See, like most of the branches this diameter are way out here, but I really would like to be closer to the tree trunk, but I'm not seeing anything like that. Maybe I'll try that one, because it's only about a foot from the tree. So basically I'm comparing these diameters, and you want them to be approximately the same size. It doesn't have to be exact. So that's looking pretty good. So what you want to do on the tree is just cut it straight across like that. And then on your scion, about the same diameter, also cut it straight across. Okay, so what we're gonna do is take our knife and slice this open right down the middle. Okay, so this is kind of high up, but right down the middle. Careful not to cut yourself. This is an awkward position up here, so you want to cut it, slice it right down there. So I'm going probably 3/4 of an inch. So that same distance, 3/4 of an inch, I want to make a point on this. So I'm going to cut it on 2 sides. So one side and then this side. Parallel cuts, and I want to taper down to basically nothing at the end. So cut parallel cuts, tapered right to a point, and this is going to go into that cut that I made. I don't need this whole stick. I really only need like one bud. So what I will do is take my clippers and just clip one bud off. And that's hopefully the bud that will grow. Okay, so I'm going to stick that right in there. So one thing, there's a little tiny layer of green between the bark and the wood. That little tiny layer is called the cambium, and somewhere in the graft it needs to line up with the cambium on the tree. It doesn't have to be perfect, but for example, if you have different diameters, you want to line one side up perfectly and the other side doesn't have to be perfect. It's best if you can get both sides, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So basically trying to line the side up closest to the camera. So I'm going to tie with a rubber band, tie that together nice and tight. And then I'll get that parafilm I was talking about and seal it up from the rain. So I take a wide rubber band like I was showing you, and I'm going to cut it. And this is extra challenging because it's so high up in the tree. So, but I'm going to take it and kind of stretch it as I wrap. So I'm just going to wrap it over itself to start, which will hold it. And then I kind of want it to overlap. Oh man, I'm going to break this whole limb off. Got to be careful. Okay. I'm overlapping it, and I'm pulling it so that it's going to be stretched on there. So basically the stretchiness of the rubber band will pull all of that graft together and hold it to heal up and graft. This is called a cleft graft, and it's one of the easier grafts to do. I've done it a lot on apples. So then this is the hardest part, and that is trying to tie this off. Somehow you have to loop it over and under. You need to tie it off. Okay, so that's about as good as I could do with the rubber band. So I'm going to cut the end off and wrap that with my parafilm. It comes in a roll like this, and this stuff is stretchy, so you want to stretch it as you put it on, and you can actually leave it on the graft, and the bud, if the graft is successful, the bud will push right through it. So, and then a parafilm will just fall off by itself. So that's pretty nice. So you want to stretch it a little bit. and you want to overlap it, what you're trying to do is waterproof it and lock moisture inside. And we'll just go all the way up completely over the bud, over the end of this graft to hold all the moisture in. And if it breaks off, you just start again. So once you have it all wrapped, then you just pull it off and it sticks to itself. So now that's all sealed up, and we'll see if it grows. I know last time I grafted persimmons, it took like up to a month or more before they started growing. But I did have, I think, 4 out of 10 that grew. Again, persimmons are more challenging than other trees to graft. So let me show you a couple of my successful grafts from past years. And then comment below if you want to see an update on whether this graft and the other the others I do today are going to grow. If I get people commenting they'd like to see that, then we'll do an update in a couple months. But let's go look at the grafts I already have from 3 years ago. Okay, so I think 2 years ago I grafted, and I have a video showing, I don't think I have a video of grafting itself, but when they started growing I did make a video, and I'm gonna have to go look at that video and remember what variety this was. But this is a graft right here. All this scar tissue is where I grafted, which means these 2 branches are the new persimmon. And this is, I think this is it might be the 3rd season that this graft has grown. And you can see all the baby persimmons. So maybe we'll get a few on there. This one, I grafted it pretty far from the tree, so this is like 4 or 5 feet from the tree. So if this gets loaded, it's gonna like want to fall straight to the ground. So we'll have to prop it up. But if you look at the tree and the graft, you can see those leaves are a little bit different shape, different color. But that's exciting to be getting fruit on our graft. Okay, and let's walk over to another tree and I'll show you one other graft that was successful. Okay, this is another persimmon tree. It was supposed to be a chocolate persimmon. Basically, one of my kids broke it off at the graft from the nursery, and then it sprouted again, and I couldn't tell if it was sprouting from the root or from above the graft. So looking at it, it looks like there's male flowers because they're forming in clusters, so it might not have fruit. But I have grafted onto this. You can see right here I grafted and it didn't work, so now it's just, it fell apart and died. And here's another one. I grafted a few onto this tree because I wasn't sure if it was going to produce fruit. Down here though, one did make it, and again I don't know the variety, but this is growing. No fruit on it yet though, so we'll keep that. I'm going to graft a few more on right now, probably cut a lot of this back. I'll leave some of it just in case it does produce fruit, but I want to graft stuff on that I know will produce fruit. So anyways, hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching. Comment below if you have any questions. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you on the next video.